You're listening to REIA Radio, the nationally trusted name in real estate investing. We dig deep to discover investors' why in real estate. If you want to skip all the BS and get in investors' heads, you're in the right spot. Be one of the thousands to check out REIARadio.com. This episode is brought to you by Timber Creek Virtual.
At Timber Creek Virtual, we don't just keep your business running, we take it to the next level. Our virtual and executive assistants handle all the everyday tasks so you can focus on what really matters, growing your business. Need clarity on your financial performance? Our expert bookkeeping services keep everything organized, so you always know where your business stands. With our seamless transaction coordination, you never have to worry about the details. Just close the deal. We've got you covered with cutting-edge digital marketing, proactive lead generation, and expert acquisition management. Plus, we handle the cold calling and messaging too. Let us handle the big C work so you can handle your business. Visit timbercreekvirtual.com/services and see how we can make your business soar.
Welcome to REIA Radio, the Real Estate Rundown, episode 176 with Owen Dashner and Kaasch. Yes. I like that intro you did, Owen, because no drinks and you still have that enthusiasm.
I'm trying, man. I like my brain cells are all activated today, I think, or at least half of them.
Is it the excitement that you just experienced, or is it the excitement of having Jose Pena back in the studio here?
I have mixed emotions right now. I'm not going to lie. I was sitting here, but we just wrapped with Jose. He's going to be airing next week. Great interview with him. Part 2 after a 3.5 year little hiatus.
Yeah, check out episode 5 if you want to backtrack before watching that.
One of the OG Real Estate Radio episodes. Actually, the Omaha REIA Radio
yes.
is what we called it back then.
Yeah, for the first 10 or 12 episodes.
And it was hundreds of listeners in the Omaha market. That was your intro into it. Very not as enthusiastic as you are now either. So your confidence has grown a lot, which I love. Yeah, so we're sitting here, Ted and I just wrapped, Jose, he just took off. I'm sitting there, my phone keeps going off, and I grab it, and immediately I'm like, oh shit.
I saw it on your face. I was like, maybe I should go for a walk.
My RDF kicked in.
Yeah.
I just had a fire. Literally, this is a current event in the hallway, evidently, of an apartment building that I have. Somebody lit off an quote unquote incendiary device. So I guess the cops are there. The fire department's there. There's like soot and black stuff all over the walls in the hallway. I mean, it could have been obviously worse. But this was after I'm sitting at home on New Year's Eve, same apartment building, different apartment, and the stove caught on fire of one of the residents. And so now my property manager's like, rightfully blowing me up of like, hey, can we jump on these repairs? Are you waiting for insurance? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh God, I just don't want to deal with this right now. But
I mean,
looks like my schedule has changed a little bit today.
I bet it has. I mean, normally wouldn't you want to you call your insurance agent and get the advice where to go? But I think I'd immediately be like, I want to rectify this immediately so I don't have to move people out, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, depending on what carrier it is, I've gotten into situations before where we had a fire. Actually, it was a fire, another house fire on a rental we had. And they basically the insurance company was like, well, you did work to it before we saw it. So they were fighting us on being able to recover the costs that we outlaid for it, which really pissed me off because they would want their adjuster to come out and take pictures and blah, 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 and go through their process to document it. And I'm like, dude, there's somebody living here. It's a fire. Okay. We need to do stuff. I can't dick around waiting for an insurance company to show up. So I don't know what I'm going to do about this. I'm still reeling from the news, but
it's funny you bring that up too, because I bought a property that had a fire in it and the claim was still active.
Yeah.
And by the time I bought it, it was like a year and a half in. And they're like, no, you can't start working on this thing yet. I'm like,
come on.
And I'm
this
like,
is real life.
And I'm like, what do you mean I can't work on this? Like, we bought it to renovate it. And the claim's in. They're like, no, we haven't agreed to terms yet, and they might want to bring adjusters in, and they'll go against you if you start renovating the project now.
Yep.
I'm like, the city's already going against me. The insurance company sent me a letter that they were dropping us on insurance because we didn't renovate yet, but the claim wasn't fulfilled. But that was their grounds for dropping us. So they did drop me, and the claim is still not finished.
I can't stand
And the grounds was because it wasn't finished yet. And then I had to pay 2 separate adjusters, so that way they could be 2 separate opinions, up to $10,000 each, to come in and evaluate what the rehab would be, to make sure that that my 3 bids matched those bids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and the attorney and everybody I hired, he goes, this is the game. They want to stretch it out as long as they can to make the pain
so they don't
as
have
worst
to pay.
possible,
Yep.
so that you will do the work, or you'll just be done with it and settle, or sell it because you're completely broke and you have nothing left.
Right. Yep. Yeah. This is gonna suck. So my days plans have changed for sure.
You can call our buddies at Swift Public Adjusters and see if they can help you.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh man. Well, if you want somebody to go with you there and document the process and videotape it, we can make a whole entire
little field trip.
Yeah, a little reel out of this too.
I might take you up on that, man. You got to be careful. You know what I just realized? I don't have my keys with me to the building because you and I have a mutual friend. I have a neighbor, Tommy Paderos, owns Tommy's Tires in Omaha here, and he's given me the homie hookup, as you put it, on a new set of tires. So I gave him he took my truck last night, and I have his truck. So I'm rolling around in the GMC with the nice rims.
I was wondering, where is this truck?
And the funny thing is, I tried to get into this thing this morning. I'm like, oh my God, this is so high up. I had to boost myself into the driver's seat. Anyway, so he has my keys. Oh, so now I'm like, yeah, great. But I think I have it. I'll figure it out.
His shop's right down the street.
Yeah. So, wow. So this really derailed what I was hoping to talk about today on this, which is...
Can you talk about the oven thing real quick?
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, all right. So I don't know all the details here. I'm going to find this out when I go there this afternoon. But yeah, I'm sitting at home New Year's Eve. We're just chilling, watching the, New York City or the Madison Square Garden celebration, the parade and all that. And my phone starts going off, and it's, my property manager, and he's like, hey, there's a fire in this apartment and in your building. And it's like 31 unit apartment building. I've talked about it before. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, God, are you serious? Like, I joke around about stuff happening on New Year's Eve. Like, I've done this multiple times, and sure enough, that there was a fire. So evidently it was an oven fire, and they got it contained, so it didn't, I don't think, spread to much other than the kitchen itself. But there's smoke damage and all that, and they had, so I have to go check that out too. So I've had literally 2 fires in the last 3 days in the same property.
That's crazy.
Yeah, thankfully the whole building didn't go up, and nobody was hurt as far as I know. But yeah, I guess we'll see. So I don't know how I'm going to explain this to the insurance company.
Well, yeah, they're going to love
Oh,
that.
Yeah. Can I open two claims, both for fires? They're like, are you running a meth lab here, sir?
Oh, and it was so hard to get that insurance because it was five stories.
This is the one that several episodes back I was really struggling to find an insurance policy because the building height is 4 stories.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of carriers have now just basically taken the path of they're no longer doing anything above 3 stories for multi-unit dwellings. So yeah, this was a total pain in the ass to get the policy, and now I'm sure I'm gonna have a claim out of this, if not more than one. But good times. Happy 2025.
It was the same thing, I swear.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it just happened to spread down the hallway. It was a spark.
I promise you. On a totally different scale, I have an Airbnb. And I got a phone call yesterday, and they're like, the dishwasher went out, and it's a midterm, and so this family's been there for, I don't know, probably about 12 months now. And I'm like, okay, so I put new appliances in, and then 4 months later, I get a phone call. Oh, that dishwasher leaks, and it's got an error code. So then I take it back in, they warranty it out. I put another dishwasher in, it's the exact same one. Oh, it's got an error code and it's leaking. I'm like, what is going on? And like, this is really weird. So then I was like, I'm like, screw it. I'm going to get the highest end Samsung dishwasher that they have just because I'm sick of this. So then I dropped some serious coin on this dishwasher, and I got the phone call yesterday. It's only been installed for like 3 weeks. It's got an error code and it's leaking. I go, somebody's installing something wrong.
Right.
Figure this out. leave me out of it. I'm so beyond frustrated right now. And they're like, oh, and we have pipes leaking in 2 different areas. I'm like, everything's new. Like, everything's within 2 years old. This is a full remodel. Just fix it and figure out what's going on.
So this is the I Love Real Estate episode. Apparently, man, starting off New Year hot.
I did start off New Year by taking over a partnership I had, though.
Congratulations on that. It was a pretty stiff buyout, I understand.
It was, yeah. I don't want to get into too much detail on the pricing there, but yeah, it was, it just didn't work out, and so now I'm just moving on, taking this on, and back to the me saying I don't work good in partnerships.
Well, so I have some news. This may not seem like that big of a deal, but it's personally for me a really big deal. I've complained about, flipping is not. It's just gotten really a lot more difficult with the market, how it is. Stuff's not moving, et cetera, et cetera. And I, with my business partner for Red Ladder, our flipping business, we decided that we're no longer going to be marketing, at least for the foreseeable future. So we're taking our website down off of pay-per-click. We're not doing any marketing. I'm not actively looking for more.
The website will still be up. It'll just be more like,
yes, it'll be more organic SEO traffic. Yeah. But this is I have never not done this since I started.
Now, what's the motivation behind it?
Okay, so yesterday I had a coffee meetup that I have every Thursday called Caffeine and Cap Rates. And we had probably, I don't know, 15 people or so, is about the usual turnout.
Okay, good crowd.
David Bader showed up from Lincoln, who we've had on the podcast as well. And we were talking about goals and predictions for 2025. And we were just talking about things in our business, like how you spend your time, what's the best ROI for time spent. And he brought up something pretty insightful, or I guess what he does every year is he'll do basically a post-mortem on the prior year to figure out where he made the most money and where he was happiest operating. Mm-hmm. And he basically is figured that out over time after doing this over and over again, what makes sense for him. And it's basically like what you're getting the best bang for your buck in regard to your business. And then you also have to marry that with what do you actually like doing, right? And so to answer your question, I looked at my business involvement and real estate holdings and so forth over the last year. Liquid lending, our hard money lending business, has hockey sticked. It's it's really blown up. We've had really fast growth over the last 3.5 years that we've been in business, 4 years. And I was like, that's the way. Just looking at this as an operational thing, right? So flipping, you have to find deals. You generally have to pay for them if you're doing any type of volume. So we, pay per click, paid advertising, that type of thing. So you pay to get them. You do the rehab. You pay commissions. You have to manage the project, et cetera, et cetera. So you're talking 4 months probably is about how long you're going to be in a deal, unless it's a really heavy lift like you like. Then it'll be a year and a half.
I don't like it.
But I was like, I don't like flipping. I don't enjoy it anymore. I used to really get a kick out of when I was by myself. I would, buy a deal and I'd stop by and, shoot the shit with the contractors and pick out materials, and I'd spend time over there. I just enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. I don't anymore. If I bought a house and I never had to show up to it and then it sold, I'm totally happy with that. And I just figured, I'm like, why am I doing this? And I was doing it to pay the bills, right? That was my active income, and any, rental income that went in, I'd basically either leave in the business or reinvest it into, new properties, new projects, et cetera, et cetera. And I never tried not to pull money out of that business unless it was a refi. But I was like, what am I doing this for? Liquid lending has thankfully offset the active income that I would have to replace in order just to continue, the same spending habits and lifestyle and so forth. And I'm like, why are we doing this? We're just doing it just to make money. It's not hard. It's not like I spend a ton of time in that business, but if I just wanted to flip, like, let's say 12 houses, and that's a pretty low number for our business, I could probably make $100,000 personally. Mm-hmm. and Brandon could too. Because, we split everything 50-50. But I'm like, this may sound terrible, but I just don't want to do it. I don't want that job. It's a job.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. At least right now, snapshot in time, I'm happy to not.
You're burned out.
Yeah. And so that's a big change for
Because
me.
it has been a job. You think that you're an owner, but the job owned you, so it's a job.
Yes. I had no control over my time.
Yeah.
Or limited control over it. Anyway, big pivot. And I really want to double down on growing liquid lending. We made a big move in hiring Luke Schulmeyer as our director of lending operations.
He just popped his head in here.
Yeah, he did. I know, that was weird. We just mentioned his name too. He's like Beetlejuice or whatever. So that's a big change for me this year, and I'm looking forward to it. Probably will keep my options open for picking up maybe a couple new larger deals that I don't have to be as involved in with partners, my same partners that I currently have, and I'm okay with that. Yeah. I don't want to do it just for the sake of doing it and do it just to make a little more money than I could make otherwise. I think my ROI on my time is much better served growing the lending business and networking and doing the things that I'm good at instead of just doing the things for the sake of money.
Yeah, and going to these networking events is probably more lucrative for the liquid lending. So it justifies you going out to these events now.
100%. Yeah, and I like it. And I like it.
And you have more time for the family.
Yes, and I'm not having to run out all the time. And if there's a fire, I have to run over there unplanned. Right? It's not. You don't generally have emergencies like that with a lending operation. So that's a big move for me for the upcoming year.
But that's totally different though. That's on a flipping side of the business. That's your holding. So
that's true. That's true.
You think you're going to start digressing out the holdings then too eventually? Like the ones.
No, I think what I would.
Partners?
I think what I would. Well, yeah, I could see myself transitioning away from being an owner operator to just a passive owner.
Yeah,
an LP. Or being part of a joint venture where I'm not having to do all the day-to-day and worry about the property management, run over there if there's a fire and all that stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
That's
with
deep,
that.
Man. That's a great New Year conversation, considering it's the first conversation you had of the new year. Now we're a couple episodes in. We know for January for the listeners, but this is our first recording in January.
Yeah, we're recording this on January 3rd. So this is right? January 3rd?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I forgot what day it was all week this week. Like Wednesday felt like Sunday. I'm all messed up.
When my wife are home for spring or winter break.
Yeah.
I totally get it.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about anything you got upcoming for the year? General outlook, goals, anything like that?
Well, Jared Swin, he actually heard me talking about storage units, and he actually just mailed me a book, Self Storage 2.0 by AJ Osborne.
Oh, nice!
Yeah, just sent it to my house, unsolicited.
How cool is that?
Yeah, so shout out to him. And a couple of goals that I set up for myself were going to bed earlier because
that is going to be a great move for you.
So I'm really bad about watching TV, staying up too late, and I don't do that during the day, but it's my thing. I do it at night. I get stuck in these shows and they never turn them off.
Yep.
And so on a work night, so Sunday through Thursday, I I've already started. I've done 2 days in a row now, and I'm going to keep going. I got out of reading books.
Mm-hmm.
My wife reads literally a book every week.
Yep.
And so as I'm cruising through the TV or sitting on my emails, which I'm really bad about, she's going upstairs and she's reading for like 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, hey, I'm going to be in bed by 10 p.m. and I'm going to read till 11 and then go to bed. And so it's actually been nice. Like, it's opened more conversations, a little bit better time with my wife and I. It's only been a couple days though. I have a ton of books I want to read, but the fact that he sent that to me and storage units is kind of where I think I want to dabble next.
Yeah.
It was just really cool that he sent that. And I started reading AJ's book. It's still really into his story. I think I'm only on page like 40 or 50 now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still telling his story and his background. And it's just, I can't wait to have him on the podcast. It's going to happen. As soon as I finish this book, I'm going to go full force to try to get him on.
Cool.
But I want to get a storage unit, not necessarily in town, but just something that's within 50 minutes.
Like a smaller one.
Yep. Something that's under 100 units, something that I can afford. Of course, I have a couple properties that I want to sell. And so that's kind of the first priority right now.
Do you think you're going to 1031 into it? Maybe.
I mean, that's a great possibility if I can find one in time.
Yeah.
But I have a 5-unit Airbnb that I listed for sale. I have another long-term. That one I just talked about the dishwasher.
Yeah.
I got that property. I got some pretty good equities in those, and then through this partnership, I have a 4-unit that I'm going to renovate unless somebody wants to buy it before I renovate it. Reach out to me, and I don't have to take on that headache. But the cool part about that one is that the litigation has just started for that insurance claim. I could potentially be getting paid out $250,000 on that.
Yeah,
and that changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
So just gonna empty my plate. I'll keep the one nice Airbnb I have, that Bohemian one I've been talking about that went all out on.
Yeah.
That brings me good money, and it has a personal place. So I'll keep that going. I'm going to automate that one as much as I possibly can. But this year is going to be about transition. Last year was about taking stuff off my plate. I took a lot off, got rid of the real estate company and everything. But this year is going to be the transition.
Good.
So we'll see.
Yeah, and on that same note, like I look at the stuff I'm involved in, and kind of like with backing off, with such a crazy acquisition push that I've just always had, I feel like relieved. But I also look at I have baggage, in mental baggage with 3 big projects that are either developments or redevelopments, or the office building I brought up multiple times that had a ton of wire damage. Like, my goal, I want to get stabilized and get these big development things underway and buttoned up and done, and just so I don't have to worry about them anymore.
Yeah, you got a lot of big projects going on.
Yeah, and it's I don't know, man. I don't know how people do it that are doing like dozens of these at a time. Like, that's too much.
Well, these are really unique projects. Not like not like you're building something from scratch.
True.
I mean, you got really thrown into it. Can I ask you, do you have timelines on some of these that you're aware of yet? Or?
Yeah. So, big deal or a big project I've got is a Branson hotel redevelopment. I brought it up. I just kind of sporadically. I haven't spent much time talking on it, but so I've mentioned this before. The transformer took 2 years to arrive, or about a year and a half.
That's just nuts.
It's finally in, delivered, all that stuff, and they're doing utility work. Axel and I are headed down. Well, actually, the day this airs, we'll be on our way to Branson. So we're going to meet with our builder and the property management company and all that, and talk about, because they're starting on the interiors now, which is exciting because this has been tabled for so long because of construction financing. Mm-hmm. So we finally got that all figured out, and we're going to start cranking out the units. So that'll be good. That's about a 15-month runway. And then the office building that I've got, that one should, I mean, in theory, we're getting all the electrical and the elevator and the plumbing, and there's all this utility work that we've had to do. That's the big lift. And then I'm excited once they start doing cosmetic stuff. So I think that one should take, in theory, 6 months ish. And we already have the insurance claim started and all that. So that should be good. And then we've got a Ralston property that's mixed use, and we've been working with the city to get some TIF money. We actually have a meeting right after I get done here on my way to the fire. We're meeting with the TIF guy that's basically going to be able to allocate city dollars. So we're trying to figure out all that. This has been a long project also, but
this could be a really lucrative year for you.
Yeah, it could be. I've just been trying to survive till 25. 2024 really sucked for me personally.
I've heard that from so many realtors and real estate investors.
Yeah. So I'm excited for 25. I wish I hadn't started with 2 fires, but whatever.
Hey, just give them away now.
Get them out of the way in January. So yeah, I like it though. I think this is a good year for really trying to figure out what's important to you, and making moves that eliminate unnecessary weight that you carry around. Not physically, although that's always good in January.
It makes me think a lot to the listeners that have been listening since 2021 and all the things that we thought we were doing it every year, and then where we end up. So I can imagine what you guys are probably all giggling at us right now.
Yeah, because back then I remember we hadn't even started Liquid. Well, no, we did. We had started it. It was still really new, but I was flipping probably 40 houses. We were wholesaling, flipping 40 houses. So it was really like acquisitions and managing contractors and projects and all that. Now it's like, if I don't have to do that all the time now, it's going to free up a ton of time to focus on other things or just do whatever I want.
Yeah.
So 2025. We're going to make our year, buddy.
What is the first gold nugget that we're going to talk about in 2025? And this Golden Nugget is brought to you by JM Real Estate Capital.
Hi, it's Rob, JM Real Estate Capital. We're the money guys that you need to know for all your real estate investments. Talk to us. We can do what your local bank can't or won't do. We don't have millions, we have trillions with a T to lend. 844-we close, or go online at jmrecapital.com. That's jmrecapital.com. JM Real Estate Capital, smart solutions for the real estate investor.
Okay, so this ties back to what I was saying about David Bader's whole year in review and their highest ROI. And I figured out that there's a ton of stuff I'm not good at. I know what it is. I know who I am now. I'm not trying to pretend to be great at things that I'm not.
It's amazing at this age you start finally figuring it out.
Yeah. Well, it's a work in progress, but I know one thing I am really good at is starting things and building, trying to, like you, Ted, you've been really good over the years about building community. And this is something we brought up in Jose's podcast.
Better at fixing things.
Yeah. Well, okay, arguably. But I would say you are really good at that. And I like creating and connecting. And, that's my favorite thing to do. And I'm pretty good at it. Mm-hmm. And I look at all of the opportunities and the partnerships that I've had over the years, and there's one common theme, and it's connections. Mm-hmm. And I have not been spending
master networker.
I've not been spending near enough time on that. And I look at if I really truly was honest about what my best ROI is, it's relationships and building a community and just networking with people and finding out what I can do to help them and not the other way around.
I totally agree.
So my gold nugget for today is, this is a small thing, but I think if you do this and you stick with it, it is going to result in potentially big waves in your business. I'm going to do this. I have so LinkedIn is where I'm going with all this. Do you use LinkedIn much?
Yeah, I was just on it today.
Okay. So you probably look at profiles and do a little bit of networking, whatever. Mm-hmm. I used to use LinkedIn all the time when I was in recruiting. So we had a paid account where you could just send like a whole bunch of messages to people, connect with candidates, and that type of thing.
I try to connect with potential people for the podcast also.
Yes, it's great for that. Yeah. And so what I'm going to do, I'm committing to this, is if you have a free account, which most people do, because it's not cheap, it's several $100s if you want to get like the beefed up Sales Navigator option or whatever. But you can connect with 40 different people each week. So that's, 160 a month. You multiply that over the year, we're talking over 2,000 people, right? Mm-hmm. That you could potentially connect with. And so I'm trying a targeted approach to building relationships with other people that are in the hard money lending space, private equity, family offices, real estate investors, that type of thing. So I'm spending some effort on that. And I want to grow that connection list that I have in my network and try to be more active on that particular social media. Well, that was today's Golden Nugget. Man, I'm dropping the ball already. It's only January.
There's a lot on your plate today, and I'm just glad you have a smile because you were not happy when we started this.
No.
Understandably.
I just compartmentalizing my anguish. Hey, one quick thing. This is totally unrelated, but I did have a note here because at my coffee meeting yesterday, which hilariously the power went out in the middle of it. We were talking about this in between episodes. And we literally sat in darkness for like 30 minutes and everybody just still hung out. And we were all sitting on like couches and chairs. And Clint Blackburn was there and he's passing around like his phone like it was a campfire. So he's lighting his face up from underneath, like ghost stories. But there was one, Dane Peterson dropped a really good nugget here.
By the way, with Dane, we want you on.
Yes. And he mentioned that the Section 8 program in the Omaha market, for those of you local listeners here, really changed their payouts for rental rates. Like, not good. Don't quote me on this. I know. And so you can get the sheet from them. So if you've ever considered Section 8 rentals and you want to know more about that, definitely take a minute and look at their updated rental rate sheets because they're way different. Apparently, I don't know this because I don't have any Section 8 in Omaha that I manage or get involved in, but apparently the rates are like one, if it's, and they designate them in categories. So like 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom, there's different payouts for all of those. And I think it must have been the 3 bed. Again, don't quote me on this, but I think they must have dropped the rate, and he mentioned 20%, which is that is gigantic.
That is
so
game changing.
Check into that. That's a little bonus nugget for you. So if you're diving into that for subsidized housing, that's something to watch for.
Oh, man, that's a good tip. If you're listening to this the first time or the 176th time, please share us with anybody that would love to hear Owen or my voice, and leave us a 5-star review on our format that you're listening to, which I've switched recently from Apple to Spotify lately.
Oh boy, yeah,
because my Apple podcast app has just been screwing up so bad.
Nice.
So, but you can't do the written reviews on Spotify.
I know that is kind of a bummer.
So I'll still read the reviews on whatever format, just so you guys know. But with that, Owen Dashner, we sign us off.
On behalf of Ted Kaasch, REIA Radio, and Aiden Bear, I'm Owen Dashner. You've been listening to the Real Estate Rundown.
This episode is also brought to you by PropStream and Magic Door.
So my gold nugget for today is, wait, did we do the golden nugget?
You said golden nugget.
No, did we do the
I
golden nugget?
No, I just said what's golden nugget for today, and you just went right
Damn
into
it. All right.